Hello, and welcome to another Wolfram Tech Talk. I'm Arben Galzici, a content developer and instructor with the Wolfram U team. And speaking of Wolfram U, today I have here with me Jamie Peterson, the executive manager of the Wolfram U team.
Hi, Arben.
Jamie is going to tell us about some upcoming MOOCs, our daily study groups, all of our open courses, certification, basically everything Wolfram U.
Thanks, Arben. Wolfram U does occupy a pretty substantial part of the Wolfram website. And Wolfram U is devoted to learning resources for all of our users, for our user community, and also for computational topics. So when you hit the Wolfram U website, the first thing you'll notice is a list of subject areas where you can explore computational ideas and learn more about fields like machine learning, data science, visualization, in addition, of course, to helping our users learn more about our technology.
Okay, so we have all sorts of topics here. It's not just like Wolfram language related stuff, it's how to do different sorts of things with the Wolfram language.
Exactly. Computation is inserted in all kinds of fields, and I think more and more people in maybe not traditionally computation fields like the liberal arts and sciences, for instance. We have literature applications where you're pulling data out of text, and as for one example. And we're finding more and more people are identifying with this computational need, and so we want to be an accessible resource for them for learning how to use Wolfram Technology to achieve that type of goal. So all kinds of resources. You mentioned our interactive courses, which are of course based on our Wolfram Cloud. They have a series of video lessons, and they're self-paced. And in addition to those video lessons, as you learn, there's exercises and auto-graded quizzes and even exams where you can assess your knowledge and your progress through the course. So they're free to everyone, those interactive courses. They do require a Wolfram ID, a Wolfram Cloud login.
But those are free.
Yeah, those are free too. And the reason for that is that you want to track your progress. So if you start a course, finish a section, sign off, and come back later, you want to see that you've accomplished those videos, accomplished those quizzes, and hopefully at the end you earn a certificate of course completion. But in addition to the courses we have and the video lessons on our site, we try to approach different learning styles and different needs. So we also schedule instructor-led courses, and I think you've actually taught several of our courses.
Yeah, quite a few.
Right. So those require advanced registration, and we schedule those on our calendar. And you join fellow learners online with your instructor, and you work through the course materials together. Of course, we offer free webinars. That's been something we've done for many years, and when the new version 13 is released, you can look for a webinar series on Wolfram U to learn more about the latest features there.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I know Bob talks about this in another tech talk. He talks about the Packlet repository, and I'm looking forward to getting a bit more information on that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can see that in the webinar.
Absolutely. Another major initiative for us in the last really 17 months during the pandemic has been daily study groups. And once again, Arben, you're one of the voices of our daily study group. We've pulled you into those activities. They've been really successful. And we, of course, I think forefront in our mind were students when we started those. I mean, schools were closing, so many things were being canceled, and we thought we can really step up and offer some learning opportunities. And so we ran a calculus study group. We ran a linear algebra study group, and they were so popular, and we found that we had not just students, but professionals, adult learners, all kinds of people looking for learning opportunities to join this cohort of others working towards the same goal, becoming proficient. And we've offered study groups in all kinds of areas, engineering, modeling, COVID data analysis, and of course, study groups based on our own tech. So Wolfram Language basics and programming tutorials were part of the study groups.
And we've seen people from kind of all around the world join these things, not just people in every profession, but we have people on several continents joining these, which is great to see.
Yeah, and it's hard. You try to pick a time because we're all online together, and it's a little bit of a challenge. But we meet Monday through Friday for an hour. It's 11 a.m. start time for us, U.S. Central Time. But you're right. We've had people all over the world so joining in during their evening, their morning, whatever, and taking part in this community. And it's just been really gratifying to see how meaningful that is to people to come together, be part of this cohort, work with an instructor online, answer each other's questions even in the group. And I can give you some stats on some of those. I was just really excited to see we have over 4,000 individuals participating in study groups since we started running them in the last year. And I think over 1,000 of them have pursued some kind of certification with the study groups.
Okay, those are pretty good numbers. You know.
Right.
I'm a little biased, but I think so. And I know we see a lot of returning users between all of our study groups. I always see several familiar names in our chat and QA pane. So while people are instructing, of course, the students can ask questions, and we have both the instructor and we have people answering questions in the chat. So it's kind of a nice directed learning experience. So
it is.
You mentioned different learning styles. I know some people like to take things at their own pace, go through a course, watch some videos, answer some questions. And other people like to have something a little more directed with an instructor that they can listen to and ask questions of, in real time.
Right.
So it's really nice to offer that, I think.
Yep, and I think the certification numbers are an important indication of how valuable that kind of structured environment can be. Not only the certifications earned through the study group, but like we've had boot camps where we've brought people in for a very intense, immersive experience, and they're able to go on and get some advanced certifications. Maybe I should explain some more about that because...
Yeah, what sort of boot camps do we have?
Yeah, well, we've had multi-paradigm data science and a neural networks boot camp, both in 2021. They were both online, of course, but plan to run those again. It's a big effort to do that. So we'd like to consider adding some more boot camp topics. I'm not sure how quickly that will happen, but it's something we'd like to think about. But as far as the certification goes, we've had some real progress and additional areas of certification offered on Wolfram U. So a year ago, I was talking about this new initiative with these course completions, program completions, and then level 1 certifications, which is a proficiency level. And we have 11 different level 1 proficiency certifications offered through Wolfram. And that's some tremendous growth for us, and we continue to continue in that direction. But you can get a level 1 proficiency in calculus by working through our calculus course. You can get it in the Wolfram Language by taking our online or cloud exam in the Wolfram Language. So it's a variety of different areas where you can get certified, and you can look for more to come.
Okay, so these level 1 certifications, you have to take the course, and then there are quizzes or exams that you have to take to kind of certify that you've actually learned the material.
Right, exactly. Those level 1s have assessment pieces, and most of them, well, all of them really are auto-graded. So we're using our own Wolfram Tech to auto-grade exercises, problem sets, quizzes, and in some cases exams. And so those assessment pieces are important, and they represent a certain level of commitment and work on the part of the individual to achieve those.
Right. And something that I found really interesting, specifically regarding Wolfram Language certifications, is that we'll ask coding problems, and people will submit different types of code, to solve the same problem, and we have to kind of look at these different types of code and be able to say, okay, this is correct, even though these 2 or 3 or 4 different ways of doing things are totally different.
Right.
But they get the same result. And I am happy to say, at least in 13, we'll be having some improved functionality on that front. So our auto-grader will be even better at that point.
Right. I mean, it speaks to the strength of the Wolfram language, really, that there are so many different ways you can approach a problem, different functionality you can use. And of course, everyone strives to be efficient in their coding, so that's a factor. But it's a real challenge to come up with that auto-grading system. That's probably the most significant challenge we face in offering these certifications, is that there are so many ways to achieve results, and we want to be able to use that auto-grading.
Yeah, we don't want to prescribe, that you have to do a problem a certain way. So.
Right, no, that's not what it's about. So, yeah, that's a good point. And I guess I could talk about the level 2 certification too. That's, right now we offer that in multi-paradigm data science, but that is not an auto-graded scenario. That's a level 2 project. It represents applied expertise in a particular area, and that's going to be individually and personally graded by one of our certified instructors.
Yeah,
so,
like me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we hope to add to those more advanced certifications. We'd love to see the certifications posted on people's LinkedIn pages, on their resumes, on their CVs, on their college applications. It's a real way to distinguish yourself and be acknowledged for the level of proficiency and expertise that you've achieved.
Yeah, it is really nice to see how many people, again, have gone through the process of getting certified there.
yeah, it's very rewarding, and it's been really exciting to see the program grow.
So you've mentioned that there are some courses we already have, and I know we have quite a few, but I know that we also have a few coming up, in part because I'm working on one of them.
Yes.
But tell us about some of the upcoming courses that we have.
Right. Well, some of the newer courses, Visual Explorations in Data Science is a new interactive course that I'm really fond of because it represents kind of, a very interesting kind of survey of different data visualizations and case studies, but it was put together, co-authored, and presented by one of our student interns. And so it's a very accessible course, and it's a real fresh voice on Wolfram U. So I'm excited to see Visual Explorations and Data Science offered in our catalog. As you said, you're working on the elementary algebra course, and that kind of represents the foundational course, right, for all these other math courses. But we continue in our math trajectory as well, where we have calculus, linear algebra, differential equations will be coming up very soon, and then multivariable calculus is next on the list.
Yep, so we plan to have kind of a full spectrum of math difficulty there,
we
from
love
algebra
our math,
to multivariable.
Right, we keep those math courses coming. But there's many other topics, signal processing, neural networks, cryptography even. These are all topics we hope to explore in upcoming interactive courses on the Wolfram U website. And of course, there's always shorter, more self-paced video lessons coming online as well.
Yeah, those go up pretty frequently.
Yeah.
And for the cryptography MOOC, we had Daria on for another
Oh,
tech talk.
great.
So she'll be the one who's working on that MOOC. So that'll be a
She's
good
so
one.
passionate about her field of study. So that's a real joy to see that course come together.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at that myself because I feel very ignorant about cryptography.
Right. Well, we all hear about, cryptocurrencies and different concepts, and it's hard to wrap your head around what all that means. So yeah, it'll be very interesting, very timely topic.
All right. So there are plenty of new courses coming up, and some new courses that we've just released. So what's coming up next, in the immediate future here?
Right. Well, first of all, I want to share with everyone about the next upcoming study group. That's already open for registration. It starts right after the tech conference. Introduction to Notebooks will be a 2-week study group. It's based on our interactive course by the same name, and it'll be just a really good run through of all topics notebooks. So even those of us who work with notebooks every day, probably there's always tips to learn and techniques to make your your report generation a little more efficient.
There is a lot of unexplored functionality
Absolutely.
there. I've been using notebooks for over a decade, and I still see things sometimes where I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I could do that.
That's a good tip. And of course, we're always adding new features and functionality. But immediately following this one will be a second study group on notebooks. It'll be going further with notebooks, and it'll be a 1-week study group, really kind of a deep dive into special topics. So things like tabs and pages and some of those special things that maybe you haven't always mastered. Like for me, I love the slideshow mode, so I rely on that all the time. But using tabs and pages is kind of a nice feature too, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to learn a little bit more about those.
Yeah, that sounds good. And a week is a nice compact amount of time to learn about something like that.
Some special topics, absolutely. So those study groups are coming up. We also, as I mentioned before, have new content that we're anxious to get out there for the new user. So a Wolfram Language Basics video course. It'll be a self-paced course that'll be coming out very soon on Wolfram U, and lots of other video lessons on notebooks, on running in the cloud, some of our basic technology, so that those people who are new to our technology can get up to speed quickly.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of entry points that people can choose from depending on what their specific needs are.
Right. Well, thanks for this opportunity to share about the Wolfram U site. It's we spend a lot of day immersed in this work, and the conference is always a great time to connect with people who we've been seeing in study groups, seeing in our courses and our webinars. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks a lot for letting us know about all these interesting, it's a big topic, Wolfram U, right? So it's nice to be able to cover courses, daily study groups, certifications, upcoming content, all this stuff.
Right.
So thanks a lot for all of this information.
Thanks, Arvin.
Thanks. That was Jamie Peterson, our executive manager at Wolfram U. And as you've just heard, we have a lot of new content coming out, new courses, new webinars, new study groups. And if you do join those study groups, you will see me at those study groups. I will be presenting, answering questions, and all of that stuff. So if you really love these videos for me and not for the guests, please come to the study groups. Stay tuned for more Wolfram Tech Talks. We've got quite a few more coming. Have a good one. Bye.